What's up, everybody? We are back with another podcast show. My name's Nick. This is okay. Let's
Sorry.
everybody introduce.
My name is Melissa.
Dave.
Gary, Travis will be here in a second.
He's with hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Beautifying him. Is that what that is?
I don't know if I'd call
What a
it that,
diva.
but
Always waiting on the diva.
right here he comes. Hurry up, Trav.
Now, is Kelsey watching again today? That he's going to be
I don't know.
sitting
We'll
up
see.
straight?
We'll see.
Did he spray a little cologne?
I'm sure he'll be paying attention.
All right. Speaking of Travis, I'm wearing my Travis Doctor Who shirt. And it says, I am a Time Lord. Travis is a big Doctor Who fan. So he's partnering up with Doctor Who to put out shirts.
Right?
Sounds good. I don't know. But welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about one of our favorite locations. It is the Mud House, located in Waldorf, Maryland. This was a place that Terry came across, and she ended up getting the feels, and she ended up setting this all up for us, and it did not disappoint. And I'll tell you now, this episode is going to be very evidence-heavy. We've got a lot of clips, more so than any of the other episodes that we've done. We've got some incredible stuff to show you guys. So we're very excited about that. So what is the Mud House? Basically, this was Dr. Mudd was an American physician who was imprisoned for conspiring with John Wilkes Booth in the assassination of President Lincoln. And we just happened to be there on the 155th anniversary of when Lincoln was assassinated. So that was great, and I think maybe that kind of gave us a little extra for the investigation because it was like nonstop. So after Maryland abolished slavery in 1864, Mudd met with Booth, who was planning to kidnap Lincoln, and Mudd was seen in company with 3 of the conspirators. However, his part in the plot, if any, really remains unclear. After mortally wounding Lincoln on April 14th, 1865, Booth rode with a conspirator, his name was David Harold, to Mudd's home in the early hours on April 15th for surgery on his fractured leg before he crossed into Virginia. So sometime that day, Mudd must have learned about the assassination, but did not report Booth's visit to the authorities for at least 24 hours, which aided in the suspicion that Dr. Mudd was involved in the crime. He was found guilty of aiding and conspiring in the murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment, escaping the death penalty by only a single vote. And then he was actually pardoned by President Andrew Johnson and released from prison in 1869.
Nick, let's throw in one thing. They do think Dr. Mudd delayed in telling because when he went into town to get a cart to be able to bring him in, when they saw the Union soldiers there, Mudd's fear was, if I tell them, I'm going to have the entire Union cavalry outside of my house with my wife and kids around. So he was terrified to tell them.
Mm-hmm. And we actually got some interesting stuff there regarding, whether Mudd knew or not before he went into town. So we'll talk about that a little later. So I want to start off. What's that?
Can we throw in there real quick? One of the reasons he got out of prison early was because there was some sort of disease going through the prison, and he came up with the cure or the solution to getting all these sick people healthy again. So that was his prize or the reason for letting him out of prison early.
Mm-hmm. I want to give a quick shout out to Miss Maggie Dunn, who, of course,
Maggie,
is a friend of ours, Maggie Dunn, and of course to our new buddy Glenn Morgan, who came out to the Belle Grove Plantation. So a shout out to him. It was great, for the team to meet him. So let's get into it because we've got a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to start with what happened in the very beginning. We were doing the walkthrough. And during the walkthrough, we're in the gift shop area talking to Ed, who's kind of our guide there. And, well, let's just play this clip and check this out. And Ed's expression towards the end of this is just priceless when it clicks to him what's going on. So check this out.
You can see now that you can almost see that it was a black man. According to Helen, she had a conversation with him, and he's not a happy person.
Is someone upstairs?
The guy that lives upstairs.
No, Bob.
Oh.
Bob must
No,
have.
Bob's right there.
Is somebody upstairs?
Is somebody upstairs?
Is somebody upstairs?
Nobody's
right now?
upstairs.
Somebody's walking.
Upstairs.
If they are, I don't know about it, and they didn't tell me there's no cars. Let's go up and
As
check
you're
it out.
talking about him, somebody's
walking upstairs.
Yeah, I heard it.
Now Henry may have come home. I don't know. I don't see his car though.
Well, there was a red car that came by earlier.
Huh?
Listen.
There was a red car.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's up there.
I did.
Someone's up there.
I love that expression. It's like,
But no one was up
when
there.
he,
No one was up there.
yeah, we went up there, we checked everywhere, there was nothing, but there was the footsteps, and that kind of set the tone for the investigation for us. It was just one thing after another with stuff. And as for Ed, such a nice guy, and he kind of tagged along for the investigation. He was very helpful, very knowledgeable. He even wore a union uniform to kind of help get a response. He does reenactments. Ed was also on the movie poster Gettysburg. He showed it to us. He's like, I'm this spec here, but he was on it, so credit to him.
He made the actual poster of the movie. He was in the middle of Pickett's charge, right in the dead center. So he was an extra, but got in a good position.
Yeah. So, and he was a Vietnam vet, so that's always a lot of respect for that. But let's get to the next clip. Now, the next clip here, I love this next clip. This was a ghost box session inside the home. And this right here, we get so much validation on this clip here. So let's play this for you guys here. Check this out. What is Booth known for? Lincoln, did you hear that?
I heard it.
Yeah. Wow.
What did you say?
Lincoln.
Oh man.
What did he do to Lincoln? How did he kill him? Killed him dead?
Killed.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh my God, show Eddie. So not only do we get the confirmation, assassination Lincoln, but then we get killed come through on the ghost box and on the Ovilus app. So tremendous stuff there. So, moving on in the investigation, we actually have a video up on YouTube of part 1 of our investigation there. And really, there was just so much evidence that part 1 takes place all outside and in the barn. We don't even go into the house yet before entire almost hour episode ends. So we'll have a couple clips from there. We have a couple new clips that have never been seen before that we're going to be showing you guys as well. And when we were in the barn, there was a shovel there. Dave, you want to talk about that shovel?
The shovel was in a glass case, and it had been retrieved from the Antietam battlefield. And we were told that the shovel definitely had an attachment. He offered to open the case and let us touch the shovel. We decided not to. We all had a very bad vibe from that shovel. And what we could imagine was people using those shovels for burial detail. In some circumstances, you can assume some wound, pain, and suffering, and it was obvious they weren't going to make it. And you could assume that shovel might have smashed someone's head in and ended their life and put them out of their misery. None of us had a good feeling about the shovel. None of us wanted to touch it, especially after what he had told us about it. We said, let it stay in the case where it is. And there's no reason to be touching something that probably has an attachment to it, a very negative attachment to it, because not only did it bury dead at Antietam, that instrument might have been used to end some lives.
Yeah. And, while we're in the barn and we're, there's nobody in the house itself. We're all in the barn. We're there with the shovel, doing our thing, the ghost box and everything. We had cameras set up inside the home, and there's one specific area that was really interesting to us that Ed told us about, and we wanted to make sure that we had coverage in that area because it was a hot spot. And we caught a shadow figure in this room, and you'll see it's this one room here. It's got a mirror, so not only are we getting the front view of this room, but if you look in the mirror, right in the mirror, you'll see the doorway outside, and on the top of the doorway was like a glass window, and in that glass window, which is probably 8 feet, up off the floor, you see this shadow that just, comes in, kind of hangs out a little bit, and then just sweeps out. And you'd probably have to be like, 9-10 feet tall in order to get that. And there's not much traffic there at all. You have to go down a long road just to get in there. So it wasn't any car lights, anything like that. This was something that was outside the door that was very tall, and it peeked in. So let's show you this footage here. Check this out.
This next piece of evidence was caught while the team was still in the barn. There was absolutely nobody in the house when this incredible footage was captured. Now you want to keep your eyes on the window above the door. Keep in mind the standard door is 8 feet tall. You will see a shadow black out this area before moving on. With the window above the door, you would be looking at someone who has to be 10 feet tall to show up in this space. Keep in mind that this farm is also on a private piece of land with no car traffic either.
So now we have a little breakdown of that clip here. And I just also want to let you guys know, during this episode, if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We will get them. We'll answer all your questions. Now let's do this quick breakdown here of this shadow figure.
Could this shadow figure be James, a grumpy spirit that was previously photographed in this exact area?
And then there was a lady over there in the hallway investigating. There's a mirror still there. And that mirror shows the stairways. Mm-hmm. And you see her standing there. If you look at the stairwell there, I don't know if you can see it
almost
with
looks
the light,
like there's a shadow
but there's
there.
a shadow there, okay? So they blew it up. That's what they got.
Ooh, I'm getting chills.
Oh, wow.
Can't see the. There's like.
Now, according to Helen, that's the big one.
Wow.
I thought it was a military guy because they were here, and it looks like a military uniform. Mm-hmm. It turns out that he had a chauffeur that lived upstairs that died up in the attic. That was his room, and his name was James, and he was African American. You can see now that you can almost see that it was a black man. Mm.
Crazy stuff. I want to give a quick shout out to Aunt Debbie, to Anne Waskin. I think I'm pronouncing your name proper.
Or otherwise known as Mama Bear.
Yep, and my buddy Andy. What's up, Andy? Thanks for joining in. So it's very interesting. He mentions the whole the slave thing, and that was one of the things there at the mud house was the presence of slaves. And when we were outside on the trail with Ed, we were picking up incredible evidence in regards to the slave stuff. So let's play you this clip here. This is, wait till you see this stuff.
Hanging
slave. Look at that. Put that on video. Hanging slave.
like push. They pushed them to hang.
Let me get a picture of that too, guys.
That as crazy as it sounds, it's a word bank.
Can I get a-
And in that,
Yeah.
spirits can manipulate
Gone.
words to
No.
communicate.
Let me try to get
Crazy
this.
as it sounds, it works.
When it goes off, was there a large amount of slaves here?
Mass, it said. Mass amount?
Like a mass
Holy
grave?
cow. All right, hold on. I gotta get. Oh, I'm getting chills. Oh, man.
Bones?
Mass amount.
Bones?
Yes, there's a lot
Hers
of
always
slaves.
goes away.
And it
Boy.
communicated on two phones, mass and then amount on the other phone.
Well, it's just matching what other people have said here. They said that there were slaves in that
Boy.
field out there.
She got boy.
She got boy?
Yeah.
Sorry? Crazy stuff.
And Nick,
And-
we want to talk about She Got Boy.
Mhm.
And we had a slave woman that came on over the spirit box back by the barn. And she said, could we help? Her son was trapped. So all we kept saying was, go to the light. You can go home. It's okay to cross over. And she had been asking us to help for a while. And then all of a sudden we heard thank you from her, and we never heard from her again. And we assumed that the boy had crossed over.
And while we're all outside, there was another piece of evidence that we caught that we don't have the video for, but we'll go ahead and we'll talk about it. We don't have the video. You can actually see that in part 1 of our Mudhouse video on YouTube on our channel. But the whole clip is about 10 minutes because we actually have a conversation with what we believe is Dr. Mudd and his wife. And they're going back and forth, kind of arguing. And from what the gist of the conversation was, is that it seemed like Dr. Mudd was aware of what Booth did before he went into town. What do you think, Dave?
I think he was aware, and I think he was afraid to say anything because it would put his family in harm's way.
Mm-hmm. And so you definitely want to check that out. It's maybe like 8 to 10 EVPs just back and forth, and you can hear the desperation in the voice of Dr. Mudd's wife. It's crazy because there's no evidence of this anywhere that kind of suggested it, and here we are with a camera that just happens to be caught in the right place at the right time on the anniversary that this happened. And it kind of makes you really think about what was going on during those times.
Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that camera in the bedroom or was it in the downstairs office?
It was in his office upstairs.
Okay, because later
that was
later
right
in his
outside where
bedroom-
Terry was touched.
That was
Okay, so later
Doorway.
when Camera was in the bedroom. We had coughing. Didn't he
Mhm.
die of tuberculosis in his bed?
I believe so.
And we were picking up cough.
Jumping, go ahead,
What-
Cindy.
He died from pneumonia.
Pneumonia.
Right. So we got on the camera recorder in his bedroom that he was coughing in the bedroom, and we know he died in bed there.
Mm-hmm. And when we were actually in his bedroom, we were getting a lot of get out, leave me alone, a lot of those type of EVPs.
Mm-hmm.
But we just kind of glossed over a little bit about Terry. You want to talk about when we were doing that walkthrough after we heard the footsteps, we went upstairs to see if there was anybody there.
Mhm.
There was nobody there, and you were in the doorway, right?
Right. I was leaning up against the doorway, and it took me a few minutes before I said anything. I think this may have been the first time I was touched on an investigation. I was standing in the doorway, and something kept touching my back as to get my attention. And I kind of, you can
towards the office, right? You were looking into the hallway.
Yeah, I was leaning in the doorway, facing out, right. And so something would have been in the office trying to get my attention or tell me to get out of the way or whatever it might be. But you can kind of tell by my reaction, if you go to the YouTube video, that I hadn't been touched frequently. I was a little freaked out. So I think this might have been the first time for me that I got touched. So,
and this was way before you had your, I guess, awakening as far as your abilities.
Right. At that time, I didn't know I had any.
Mud House.
What's that?
When did we do Mud House?
April 2019.
Almost 2 years ago.
2019, right? Wow.
2018.
2018.
Oh, no, 2019.
2019.
2019. So almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And since then, you've come a long way.
Yeah.
With your abilities
back then we didn't know. I didn't know that I had any gifts.
Mm-hmm.
We were still newbies back then.
Yeah.
So let's keep on going here because we got a lot of evidence and stuff to show you guys. So this next clip, we are outside again, and we get the name Ned. And Ned, of course, we ended up confirming was Ned Spangler. And Dave, you want to let everybody know who Ned Spangler was?
I don't remember Ned Spangler.
Ned Spangler was a stagehand at Ford's Theater.
Oh, okay.
Where John Wilkes Booth also worked as an actor.
Yeah, Booth got into the theater very easily because he was recognized as an actor. He had starred in Julius Caesar prior to The American Cousin being there. Booth had a horse waiting outside. So when he jumped off the balcony, he fractured his leg, got up, said something in Latin about tyranny, and then limped to his horse in the back. And that's how he made his getaway. So people were shocked. They didn't know what was going on. So he was able to.
Ned Spangler helped John Wilkes Booth with the assassination. So, and they knew each other from the theater. Ned Spangler was a stagehand, and John Wilkes Booth was an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And Ned Spangler is actually buried less than a mile in a cemetery that's less than a mile from the Dr. Mudd house.
Right. So let's play this evidence. I love when we can validate that a historical figure is at a location and we get him confirming it. And we get him confirming his first name and his last name. So check this out. If we said your name, did it just say Ned? Your name? Your name? Your name?
I didn't hear it. That's what it sounded like.
I'm not sure. You say Ned?
Yeah.
Ned Spangler. He lived here.
Oh, yeah.
He
died here.
Ned Spangler died here.
He's buried down the road.
Yeah.
Ned, is that you? Ned, what's your last name? Love that stuff.
That's what we're talking about right now.
That's some good work right there. So yeah, Ned Spangler. We know Ned Spangler's there. We know Booth is there. Dr. Mudd, his wife. We do know that it sounds like a black woman was there. Maybe that was, a slave back in those days. We do get a woman during that whole conversation that I mentioned earlier about Dr. Mudd and his wife.
It could have been the woman asking us to help cross her son over.
Oh, it's very possible.
And to understand that there were slaves on the property, they had tobacco barns on the property where the tobacco was dried out. So that was probably what they were working on.
Okay. So this next clip is pretty interesting. During the investigation, so we are up in the attic now, and in the attic, apparently there is a woman who likes to stare out the window, and she's been seen by multiple people staring out. So we're up there doing the investigation. We've got our buddy Bob doing the connect, and Dave is up there. He's wearing his uniform as well because he does the reenactment stuff. So that's great trigger prop. So he's up there, and we end up catching this figure that's right next to Dave. So we give Dave the recorder to do some EVP, and we ended up getting what sounds like a little girl. And when we originally heard it, we thought it said, "Where's Daddy?" Until we kind of listened to it a little closer, and the actual clip is "We're sad." And I kind of cleaned that clip a little bit, slowed it down, so that you guys can hear it. I mean, it's a class A. Check this out. And this is up in the attic.
Oh, it's behind Dave.
Yeah.
It's behind Dave now?
All right, Dave. There's your EVP session.
To shut this off soon.
If it's near you, we should get a pretty loud volume of it.
What's that?
Who or what is next to me?
How old are you?
Who or what is...
Whoa.
Who or...
Is this anybody?
Who? Sounds like a little kid.
What's that? What's that? What's that?
We're sad.
And what was amazing about that one, unlike a lot of EVPs, we heard that not when we played the recorder back. We heard it when it was said. We all looked at each other at the same time because we heard it audibly and got it recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard an EVP that loud where we actually heard it where we were standing.
Yeah. So, I mean, could this have been like the stagecoach driver? I think they mentioned that
he lived in the attic and died in the attic, and that was where we were.
So I don't know. Maybe he had a daughter. I'm not sure. Or maybe this is the woman.
Well, no, I think it was the daughter because it was a little girl, and when I asked her name, we got Anna.
But I mean, it could have been maybe a young woman. That's why I wonder if maybe this is that woman that occupies that attic. Sometimes you sound a little younger.
Okay.
I don't know. It could have been a kid. It could have been, a young woman. But nevertheless, the EVP was great. And, it's taken me so long to get through this footage because there's just so much of it when you're reviewing. I'm basically the main one that does the reviewing. So when I'm reviewing, it's like every 20 seconds, I'm like, I have to stop and we got to start, listening. And there was just so many EVPs. So as an example, I pulled this clip where we just get about 3 or 4 EVPs all in a row in a span of maybe 30 seconds. And this was inside the house. So this sounds like they're maybe talking with each other. We caught some of a conversation between 2 different spirits. So let me play that for you guys.
Yeah, the kitchen's over there, buddy. Go make it yourself.
Outside over there, right? Yeah. Can we try to light up that device on the table again?
So that, and I refuse to deal with it. I think that they're just annoyed. They're like, I'm not dealing with these people here trying to talk to us. That's what I think maybe that's about.
Were there people in the house before us earlier in the day?
If they were maybe doing tours.
Yeah, the museum was open during the day.
Yeah. And I would think, being an anniversary of what happened, there'd probably be maybe more so coming out than usual. So maybe that kind of stirred up a little bit more. So maybe like a perfect storm of, an active home. That I'm cold one, I mean, if you listen close, you can almost hear like like a shivering to that tone. So yeah, it's just was nonstop EVPs inside the house. So eventually one day I'll put out part 2 on YouTube. So let's talk about Dr. Mudd and Travis. Travis, do you want to talk about how Dr. Mudd, and this has become a running joke for Travis, 2 years later, or however long it's been since we've investigated the Mudd house. Well, Terry, do you want to paint the picture about Dr. Mudd?
So Travis refuses to believe that he has an allergy to gluten, and he loves pasta. So that creates some issues for him. I don't know how to say it. That creates some issues for him. And while we were at the Dr. Mudd house, he had some issues.
And Maggie was part of that, and that kind of came into play a little bit too.
Maggie Hayes?
Yes.
Or Maggie Dunn?
Maggie Hayes.
Maggie Hayes. I don't remember that part. But at Dr. Mudd house, Travis had a little issue with some gas in his stomach. And he blamed it on Dr. Mudd.
Yeah.
So ever since then, everywhere we go, and Travis has an issue with the gluten, his stomach with the gluten, it gets blamed on Dr. Mudd. So essentially, Travis loves pasta, so Dr. Mudd follows us everywhere.
Yeah. And with Maggie, he was, he likes Maggie a little bit, and so he was impressing her, I think, because she'd be like, Travis, and then he'd be like, that was Dr. Mudd. Like he didn't do anything wrong. So
yeah,
it was just Travis with his way with the women. That's what worked,
right?
Yeah. Any questions? You guys have any questions? We've been just kind of slamming you guys with a bunch of evidence here, and also want to wish Travis a happy birthday. He had it on the 17th, and it was recently celebrated. He had a pretty badass cake with Travis hitting his 21st birthday. So maybe
he ordered his first alcoholic beverage.
What did he order?
It was some frozen drink, like pina colada-y ish. I don't know, something similar. To be honest, he only drank a few sips out of it, which I kind of expected, but
so he just ordered it kind of just to say
order.
He did.
Yeah,
because he could.
Because he could.
There you go.
And the worst part of it is, we were out Red Lobster. The worst part of it is, he didn't even get ID'd.
Well, they of course not. Everybody knows who he is.
Well, they knew.
Got a beard.
He's got a beard.
Yeah. So we've got one last clip here from this investigation to show you. And this one is, I hope you guys have good eyes, because this is an actual apparition that was caught on the video in the same room that we caught that shadow figure that we showed you guys before. So you see it moving from the right to the left. There's 2 clips we're going to play. The first part is, this whole thing, and then I'll break it down on the second one. And then I kind of rewind it back and forth so you can see the motion as this figure is exiting the room. So let's play this first clip for you. It's a very active room here. That's the room that Ed had. They showed him the pictures that they caught of that one guy that they believed his name was James hanging out on the stairs. So I don't know if James was that same shadow figure, or maybe he was this apparition. But let's play this clip for you guys now. What's up, everybody? This is Nick, and this is our House Apparition video. Now, this can be a little tricky to spot and may take you a few tries to see it, but the easiest way to spot this and follow it is by looking at the edge of the mirror. Because the apparition shows up as white, it's easier to spot against a darker background. So once you spot the part of the head, which is what you're looking for, you can follow it in a straight line to the left, passing just under the hanging picture. Now once you get to the dark part of the wall, you can see the apparition's movement, including the torso, leave the room. The head and what looks like part of the arm are directly underneath each other. So we're going to show you a few different variations of it, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. Alright, let me play the second clip here, because you only allow me to do a minute at a time. So now we're going to focus on the movement of the apparition against the dark background of the wall. Now look for the movement first, then look for the head and arm. So right now you're looking for the movement as I'm moving the apparition in and out of the room. $10 points for you guys that actually saw it. Did you see it? No?
I did.
There you go. So it's right at the exit in that room. In that dark spot is where you see it the best. But you can see it kind of moving against the lighter background. But that dark area is where you could see it. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. So, on top of that, we've got a little update. Team was at the Belle Grove Plantation. Terry, do you want to give us a little recap? What happened on that investigation?
So for those of you that don't know, Belle Grove Plantation is in King George, Virginia. It's the birthplace of the fourth president, James Madison. It was a really good investigation. In the caretaker's house, we came into contact with a spirit that wasn't so friendly. As they say, if you're a jerk in life, you're probably still a jerk in death. And Baldwin wasn't having any of us. He wasn't in the mood for us to be in his house. Then over in the main house, we actually, in the library, CJ was sitting on the couch, and Travis saw a gentleman standing behind him, and he was able to identify that gentleman as, based off the picture, as Madison himself. So, what else? Dolly Madison was there in the upstairs. Which room was that? The Madison room?
Mm-hmm.
Your room? Dolly Madison was there. We had a little bit of action in the summer kitchen the following Sunday morning. It was really positive out there. Some of our known spirits came through while we were in the summer kitchen. Isabella, Danny came through.
What I found interesting was before we went to the caretaker's house, they offered to give us the name of the person that would be in the building, and we asked them not to, that we would figure it out ourselves. And in talking with Fernando, who has been invaluable to us, we did know that there was a letter B out there. We eventually got it to Baldwin, and we went back in the house and said we were dealing with Baldwin. And they said, yes, Baldwin Lee is the guy who's out there. So we've got that all without using the information that could have been handed to us. We used our mediums that are very good and was able to get it on our own.
And then speaking of Baldwin, so as we were sitting in the library, I started to feel a pain in my throat. And it felt like I was being stabbed in the throat. And then I got nauseous. And when I vomited, there was actual blood in my vomit. And later we found out, now we knew Baldwin died of a suicide. Well, we figured that out when I went outside for air and I started doing some stuff on Google and realized that Baldwin died of a suicide in 1868. But later on, when another team was there, I asked them questions and found out that Baldwin had actually died by suicide by slashing his own throat. So, not sure if Baldwin was attempting to make me feel what he felt.
Well, one thing they added was that Baldwin immediately regretted it, and he tried to pack leaves in to stop the bleeding, but it was too late.
But it was too late, yeah.
That's probably why he's all cranky now. He's like, great, now, I didn't want to do this. And, maybe now he's just nasty to everybody.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of pushed him to want to do that, though.
Yeah, apparently there was some regret based on of the way he treated people in life as the caretaker of the plantation. But, if you think about regret about the way he treated people, he's not really treating people any better in death. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Another interesting point on that was while we were communicating with Baldwin in the caretaker's house, the other team was in the basement communicating with Baldwin at the same time. Which plays into our theory that spirits can be in multiple locations at the same time.
A theory that we actually got from our spirit friend Danny.
Yes.
Right. So we like validation.
Yeah.
But there's also, we did get an EVP that said, I am Baldwin. And I'll try to get that posted up on the Facebook page, in the next day or so you guys can hear it. It's a very clear, unmistakable EVP. So that's good stuff.
Nick, you want to talk about meeting one of our fans this week?
Well, we gave a shout out to our buddy Glenn earlier. You want to talk about it?
Oh, the fact that he came all the way out was great. It was great being able to take a picture with him and stuff. And he goes down as #1 fan. He's the first fan to show up at a location.
Well, he was also, I think, investigating as well.
Yeah, and he doesn't live that far, but it was still great for him to come out, and we're taking care of him and getting him a T-shirt.
Yeah. So we'll have that sent out. Terry will make sure she sends that out to you, Glenn. And we have some interesting clips. As you know, unfortunately, Terry's brother had passed away on Christmas Eve. And she's been getting some signs and stuff. And the Friday, well, the investigation was Saturday. So Friday, CJ and Maggie drove down to Terry's house. And they decided to do a little ghost box session and try to make contact with her brother. So, Terry, you want to give us a little intro on what we're about to see?
Yeah, what, you got the wait one?
I have the yo, and then I have the name.
Okay, so with my brother, now he's been pretty much here since he passed. Well, a few days later is when he started coming, because it takes a couple days apparently for them to acclimate. And then I told everybody on the team that if he came through, he would start with yo, because whether it was by text or phone, and I spoke to him daily when he was alive, but whether it was by text or phone, he would start each conversation with yo. So if he texted, the first text would be yo, and then the second text would be whatever he had to say. And the same thing went for a phone call. As soon as I answered, he would say yo. So we're sitting here with the ghost box, and we knew there was stuff here because we felt it, and we were asking questions, and then all of a sudden we got a yo, and it was very clearly his voice. And of course CJ reacted, and we all were kind of excited, and then
I love CJ's reactions, by the way.
I love his reactions when something goes on. Yeah, I love it.
He reminds me of like Aaron from Ghost Hunter. He's like, bro, dude.
Yo.
Yeah, I love it. So, but then for further validation, because you never know, trying to manipulate. But now we also heard some other words that it was very clearly his voice. Like it was my brother's voice. But we also know that spirits can manipulate. So because I wanted to validate it that it was him, and I didn't want someone else getting credit or pretending to be him. So I said, Junior, if this is you, I need you to tell me your little girl's name. Well, it took a little while, and we're not going to play the clip where he says wait, but he said wait, and then about a minute or so later, he said his little girl's name. So if you want to play those clips, you can play those clips, and then we'll verify the name after. I mean, they'll hear it in the clip, but
so we'll play the first clip first. The first clip is the yo clip. So here we go, and you guys weren't recording, and then you realize, you know what? I've got the Nest Cam.
Right, we weren't recording. Well, Maggie had a recorder, but we didn't get the recorder. But we weren't recording on a real camera. I just happened to have a Nest Cam in my kitchen.
All right, so that's the angle. The Nest Cam in the kitchen that caught the action unfolding.
Junior, if you were here, you heard that little girl in the back here? Junior, if you were here,
yo, stop! I got goosebumps, bro. That was Junior, bro.
Yo, he said yo.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
If you were here, if you were here, if you were here. Amazing.
It sounds.
It was his voice.
This almost looked like an episode of Jersey Shore where everyone's like, yo. That's what I got out of that. And then Maggie's like, I can't deal with it. I gotta go.
So it was really cool, though. So
now we'll play the second clip. This is the one where we get the name.
Junior, what's your little girl's name? Junior, tell me your little girl's name. Hannah. Did you hear that? That's my brother's daughter's name.
Hannah?
And I said, tell us your little girl's name.
There you go.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah. So what do we have on the schedule coming up for East Coast Spirit Chasers? The next one is in 2 weeks. I believe March 6th.
March 6th, Hoover House.
And tell us about the Hoover House, Terry.
I don't know much about the Hoover House. It's from the 1800s, right?
It was a nursing home.
It used to be a nursing home.
And we're going to be the first team ever to go and investigate there.
Yep.
So that's very exciting. Then after that, we've got Sweet Spring Sanitarium.
That's March 27th.
No, that's April. I'm sorry.
No, the New York one.
Okay. Bergen House.
Bergen House. Bergen House. And then Wildwood Sanitarium.
And then after that, we have
mid-April, you all's birthdays. We have Sweet Springs.
Okay. And what else? I know we have Poasttown Elementary.
We have then the first weekend of June, we have.
Wait, you skipped Friday, May 4th. We have Paxton Manor in Leesburg, Virginia.
No, that's June 4th.
Oh, is that a 6?
Yeah, June 4th
Okay.
and June 4th and 5th, we have Paxton Manor and Apollo Theater.
Correct. And then June 19th, we have
Poasttown Elementary
in Middletown, Ohio.
And that's all we have scheduled for right now. We're working on scheduling our road trip, which is the first week of August. So for the road trip, I'm looking at 2 big ones, but they're not on the schedule yet.
You reached out to them though, right?
Not yet. I got their contact information. I did some. Oh, the first one I did. The first big one I did reach out to them once, and I talked to them just asking questions, but we didn't pick any dates yet. So should we say the names? Should we say it? I'm excited. 2 big ones.
Well, I mean, nothing's official, but
Nothing's official. But we're looking into them. Waverly Hills and Bobby Mackey's.
Wouldn't that be great?
That'd
That's
be
2
fabulous
bucket list locations.
Yeah, so we're looking at those 2 during our road trip the first week of August. For those of you that don't know, the last couple summers we take a week and we do 5 different paranormal road trip, 5 different investigations in 5 days.
Well, our first one was 6 locations in 5 nights.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're looking at first week of August. Dave will join us for the first time this year.
Yay.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, right.
As long as we don't go into Ohio, because for whatever reason, something always happens that blocks him from going into Ohio.
Well, Bobby Mackey's is right.
Graduation. Yeah, okay.
Bobby Mackey's is right on the border of Kentucky and Ohio.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So we'll see how it plays out.
He can get to the border of Ohio. He just can't cross that border. He's been to the Knickerbocker.
Yeah, he went right up to that border.
I've been to Ohio before. A cousin in Cincinnati.
I love Ohio because there's just so many different locations.
So much in Ohio.
Like Ohio is just a jacked up state, and that's why I love it. And I still want to go out to Ohio to do all the stuff for Karen, spirit in my house, and go to the places that kind of meant something to her. Go to her grave.
Well, maybe
give her
we
flowers.
can.
Well, I think it was around the Akron area. I'm not sure how far that is.
I'll do some research tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we need to start getting these dates cemented.
Especially like the big locations like Waverly Hills. That you got to put in months in advance. Bobby Mackey's, both of these places, super popular. They get booked up very quickly. So,
One thing I did find out about Bobby Mackey's is we can only do weeknights, which works out for us because that's when we'll be traveling.
Yeah.
Mostly weeknights.
So I think we started this road trip thing. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
We started.
The first one we were supposed to go to Louisiana, and the hurricane came and washed it out, and we ended up doing a last-minute Savannah trip.
And it was amazing.
That's where Terry got her attachment from the Sorrel Weed House.
Yeah.
Last year we went out to Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. We went out. Thomas House was a big highlight. Yeah. And this year, Kimberly says a lot of active places in Virginia, but y'all never quite get my way. We've gotten a couple. Where are you from, Kimberly? We've been out to Virginia a couple times now.
It depends on where she's at. I've been looking at a lot of stuff in Virginia lately because I'm Kimberly. Kimberly, if you don't know, Travis and I live in Virginia, but we live in Northern Virginia. So tell me where you live, and I'll see if there's anything I've been looking at. I've been looking at quite a few things in Virginia because I want y'all to come down here so instead of me always going up there.
You don't like those 9-hour car rides, Tara?
Well, but the other thing is that even though I live in Virginia, I'm in Northern Virginia, right at the DC-Maryland border. So a lot of these places, Charlottesville, which is where Exchange Hotel.
Oh, yeah. We've done that. We've done that one twice, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Yep. And Glenn is commenting about Point Lookout. We were at Point Lookout a year and a half ago or so.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I wouldn't mind going back there.
I would love to go back to Point Lookout, even if just to have a relaxing weekend in a cabin.
And you know what? I think it would be great if Glenn would come out to Point Lookout with us too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Since he's right from Scotland, Maryland.
Yeah, right there.
Bring him out and have something, get Glenn on this investigation.
Yeah. We got some really good pictures on our Facebook page from Point Lookout. Remember the when I felt something looking at us and everybody started taking pictures, and we got a figure in the wood line.
Yeah. It looks like a guy, and he's got the shirt, and he's holding like a staff of some kind.
Yeah. And we tried to recreate it. We walked over there to find the exact trees.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But there was all sorts of stuff.
Maggie, it was not tent camping. It was
cabin.
It was cabins. So, yeah.
Kimberly, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and if we ever get back down that way, there's quite a few things down in Charlottesville. So
I want to give a shout out to Kathleen coming on. She's always watching our lives, so we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody who comes on and gives us some support, tunes into our lives and our podcasts. Definitely appreciate that.
I saw one of my cousins watching, so I'm curious if she saw me talking about my brother, because most of my family doesn't believe and find me nuts.
So, you are a little nuts. I think we're all little nuts, actually, to be in this field.
Yeah, so I'm just curious how my family's going to take it when if Lorianne goes back and tells them, "Oh, we heard Junior's voice," but it's legit his voice.
Yeah, we're all not sitting in the dark talking to ourselves, but that's all part of it.
Yeah. So.
But we appreciate everybody tuning in.
Definitely.
And we'll be back next week with another episode, another location. I want to start doing some new things as well.
Yeah.
I really want to get Fernando, who's the shaman that we work with,
that would be
a
amazing.
lot of these client cases. We're removing negative energies and also just doing wellness checks on us. I mean, he's just been invaluable. And to have him come out and kind of talk about what he does, what he sees, some of his experiences, I think that would be really interesting if we got him on here for an hour and just grilled him and asked him everything that we could possibly think of.
That would be amazing.
So we'll see. That's definitely one guy I definitely want to get on here. So
yeah.
But we'll see what we can do. If we can't get him on, then we'll probably come back with another location with some more evidence, some more experiences, and talk some more paranormal with you guys. But thank you for checking in. That's been our show for today. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.